Welcome back to Slingin Dirt. We're wrapping up the shows. I mean, not too many left. We'll have to kind of sit down and figure out how many more shows we can do because, well, as sad as it is to say, dirt season's kind of wrapping up. So we're gonna have to call it a year pretty soon. Lost Dog Design is our sponsors. They're the ones that help us out. Check us out at lostdogdesign.com. Now, these guys are going to design everything for you. Business cards, brochures, flyers, Facebook pages, websites, so much more. Contact Raina and Dave today at Lost Dog Design. lostdogdesign.com is their website.
I do want to mention one other place. racedayprints.com. Capturing all the action and promoting our sport. You can go to racedayprints.com. All the Slingin Dirts and the Front Stretch radio shows, they are archived on YouTube under the Joe's Karting page there. But, you know, a lot of people, they go to Race Day Prints. They want to see their favorite drivers. They want to get pictures and buttons and shirts and all that other good fancy stuff that we all like to have from time to time. Chad Ebel is one of the best guys in the business out there right now. You just go to racedayprints.com. He puts all of our Slingin Dirts up. Great guy, great business, and takes some of the best damn photography I've ever seen in stock car racing. I mean, there's a lot of good ones out there, but locally he's really, really good at what he does, and he knows a lot of the drivers. So if you have a favorite driver, chances are you call Chad Ebel up and they're at racedayprints.com, and he'll get a picture of your favorite driver.
I tell you what, one of the cool things to do is get yourself one of those pictures and then take it down to the track and have it autographed. It's something that is completely unique to you. You're the only one that has that picture. You're the only one that has that autograph. And it's something that you can add into a little bit of a collection of your own. I've made a practice of that in my radio career where I've got to meet some of the coolest bands that I've ever got. Sitting down with Rob Zombie and Slipknot and Alice Cooper. And I went and got these special pictures that it's not like the posters that they send out as media.
It's very intimate
marketing.
Almost. And
it's just me. It's my one and only thing. And the thing is, I don't want to go and sell it online for $5,000, even though I probably could. That's something of mine. That's very unique to me. So it's
how cool is it to meet your drivers and with your band meet, to know that you sat down with Alice Cooper and he signed it. Thanks Dan for your support. Alice Cooper, however he signed it.
By the way, coolest damn guy in the world. I mean, I've heard
Alice Cooper is amazing.
You would think as long as he's been in the business, he would have a bit of a head on his shoulders and that he wouldn't care about
just
the little
down
guys.
to earth.
Oh, he anything the radio station I was working for at the time wanted him to do, he was like, yeah, let's do it. I'll do it. Whatever you guys want to do, let's do it. He understood promotion, self-promotion. And let me tell you, that's one thing that a lot of dirt drivers out there don't do enough of. They don't do enough of it.
They don't
understand that when a radio show calls you for an interview, you should say yes.
Yes.
And that when there is a dirt track segment, the only one in the area that says, hey, would you like to come on our show and talk about your season? You should do it.
And you know what? I'm going to throw this out here right now, Dan. We were just looking at our ratings right before the show. We seen 125% increase in our listenership.
Yeah, we went from 1 to 8. It was insane.
Yeah.
We've got the math doesn't really add up. We went from 1 to 5, but 5 people listening to us. This is awesome. But that was for our Front Stretch radio show.
No, we legitimately did have 125% increase in listenership. So
we did.
There's dirt drivers that listen to this. There's crew members that listen to this. Guess who else listens to this? The sponsors. The sponsors. If you own a business, how many other business owners do you know? You probably know quite a bit. They're in network business meetings. They're in network areas. They network, they meet other businesses, they talk. Dirt track racing is such a word of mouth that when we call and we want you to do an interview, you should. I don't care what class you are, you should probably do the interview.
And who was it the other day we were interviewing that he was the first driver and
Shane
so
Hyatt.
far the only one that gave sponsor credits?
Shane Hyatt. And we were laughing after Slingin Dirt. We're like, Shane Hyatt's sitting in the garage going, and he's pointing at his car going, well, there's this guy, there's this guy. And so I saw Shane Hyatt, super nice guy in person. I seen him out at Eagle Raceway here a few weeks ago, and we were laughing about that. It's like, Shane, honestly, were you in the garage leaned back against the table drinking a beer going, well, there's that guy? He goes, but I literally walked around the car 3 times to make sure.
You could hear him. I mean, you could hear him kind of taking these pauses as he got to the next decal.
Yeah, but you know what? That's great. We want the drivers to do that. We want a lot of the best example.
That's the reason why we created this show, was to promote local dirt track racing. That's the reason why we started the Front Stretch, and I started because I came to you and talked to you about it because I love NASCAR, and I don't think there's enough people that are getting the attention they deserve. And your condition was, we got to talk dirt. dirt, and I didn't believe you, but now you've got me sold on it that it's a huge thing, and so that's the reason why
we did the front stretch, and now
and
and we've expanded to the Slingin dirt. So drivers, listen, when we call you, talk to us,
and we greatly appreciate all of you, your comments on our Facebook pages, on our YouTube profiles, on our own pages. Anything you guys have to say it. We would love to talk about any kind of topics. I do want to talk about one thing. I noticed it on Facebook today. It broke they're not really broke, but something that happened this morning down at Shelby County Speedway. Somebody broke into it the other night and stole $15,000 worth of merchandise. And God, I can't say it enough. Some people think that these dirt tracks and these promoters have all the money in the world. That is a devastating loss to a track. And,
that's uncalled for. And
listen, when they say that they lost $15,000, they're not talking about profit. They're talking about expense. That cost Shelby County $15,000. So let's kind of send out an Amber Alert. If you see anybody out there selling Shelby County Speedway merchandise, throw their asses to the police and get this taken care of, because
hell, you can call me directly.
Yeah, we need to get it taken care of. This is one of the only sporting communities that really sticks together and takes care of their own as far as fans are concerned, as far as tracks are concerned, and drivers are concerned. So take care of Shelby County Speedway. If you see anybody out there selling this stuff, contact the authorities, because we need to find a resolution.
I will tell you right now that if you've got any leads, I don't care how minor it seems, Facebook me. Buddy Ray Jones, I'm on Facebook. I've got 3,000-4,000 friends out there. So Facebook me. I'll put it into the hands of the people that need to know. But this is sad. And you're absolutely right, Dan. $15,000, that's not profit. That is expenses. Not only that, but sometimes the drivers themselves have merchandise that we've paid for to put in those stands. So it even affects the drivers.
Well, let's talk about what we've got coming up as far as racing in the next week to 2 weeks. The Tiny Lund.
That's this weekend.
Is it? So it's Friday, Saturday coming up in a couple of days?
In a couple of days, yep. Okay. Big tradition. I believe it pays minimum $1,000, except for the sport compacts. I think it's a couple $100 there, but all the other classes are a minimum $1,000 on up. It's a Friday, Saturday show. Usually a lot of the guys that people go see race Boone will make a trip over to Harlan, Iowa, Shelby County Speedway. And the nice thing is it's almost like, not to sound churchy, but you go to a good church fellowship dinner and you have everybody, they go through the service and the motions, and then they're having the dinner, and that's almost like what Tiny Lund is. We're not racing for points. It's not IMCA points racing, I don't believe. But when the guys go there, they want to have fun. We drink, we eat, we have a good old time.
You mean to tell me there's drinking at a racetrack?
Oh, who'd have thought? We'll get into that with the Super Nationals.
So that's this weekend, Shelby County Speedway in Harlan, Iowa. Make sure to get down there and support local dirt track racing, one of the best racing events in the area for
absolutely.
all season long.
And the Tiny Lund is actually named after Tiny Lund.
I've heard of this guy a little bit.
Tiny Lund actually raced at the Daytona 500. He was from the Harlan, Shelby, Denison area in Iowa.
I believe Shelby County was his home track, right?
It was his home track. He did die, I believe, in a NASCAR race. Don't quote me, but I do believe he died in a NASCAR race. Huge guy. Very, very big, monstrous, tall, big, burly looking guy, but super, super down to earth, super nice guy. We're talking back in the 50s, 60s. I wasn't thought of yet. I was still a twinkle in my mama's eye, but
yeah, he died at Talladega in 71.
Yeah, but very, very well respected, very, very well liked.
So get to Shelby County Speedway this weekend, Friday and Saturday night. He credited with Harlan being his hometown. So
yep.
But anyways, I've lost my train of thought all of a sudden. This is the great thing about unedited. You're going to have these down spots where you just see how bad of radio DJs we are.
It's almost like when we get into each other on the track. I really got into you? I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's amazing how that happens.
Yeah, selective memory.
The Tiny Lund this weekend, Friday, Saturday night at Harlan at Shelby County Speedway. Get there today. Get there Friday and Saturday and get yourself some great racing.
Then a week later you can go to I-80.
Yeah, exactly.
Fall brawl.
Coming up Wednesday, 6 days from, well, I don't know, I'm going to say when you're going to say it, but Wednesday, September 19th, next Wednesday coming up is the makeup race for the World of Outlaws at Eagle. Racing, gates open at 5, racing starts at about 7 o'clock. I think that's when they're going to start the hot laps, and then racing shortly after that. So World of Outlaws, these are the big boys. These are the guys that you've been panning to see, and I see them all the time on Speed Channel late at night. I watch some of the World of Outlaw replays. And these are the originators of the 4-wide parade lap, right?
Yep. And here's what's special about this World of Outlaw makeup race. Back earlier in the year when they had the World of Outlaws there, it rained out. So Roger Hayden did go on to say that there was probably going to be, there were some NASCAR drivers there for that race. Well, he said now that Kansas is coming up, Chicagoland, the Midwest races, and NASCAR coming up, he did mention that there could.
I would highly doubt it, because Chicagoland is, over with by the time they're done. And on Wednesday, they're going to be headed to New Hampshire, which is completely out of the way.
Well, not really.
And you know what? But when he said it, they didn't know when the date was.
Right.
So there was a possibility it would land close to Kansas.
So
it did land close to Chicago, but unfortunately it landed on the opposite end of it. And they got to be at the guys have got to be checking into the track on Wednesday. So, but the thing is that you don't go there to maybe see a NASCAR driver. You go there to see some of the best World of Outlaw drivers.
Yeah.
These are the sprint
It's going to be
guys.
amazing.
This is going to be awesome racing. So that's this. The coming Wednesday, September 19th at Eagle Raceway. Again, gates open at 5, hot lapping starts at 7, and those are tentative times. I can't remember exactly when, but you can get discount tickets at all participating Napa Auto Parts stores. So go on to eagleraceway.com. You can get information about that, worldofoutlaw.com. They have information about where you can get it, and I believe slspromotions.com. They're the ones that are putting on the race. So, yes, you can get discount tickets and tickets through SLS and get all your information there. So, World of Outlaws returning, actually making their promised return to Eagle Raceway. We've got the Midwest Fall Brawl at I-80 Speedway. 2 full days of racing next Friday and Saturday, September 21st and September 22nd.
It will be a fall brawl with that ASCS Midwest Championship Series coming down right to the wire right there. Can Jack Dover, the gas man out of Springfield, Nebraska, get it done?
Right now, he has got a 81-point lead over Jordan Boston, and there's only 2 races left to go. It's Friday night and it's Saturday night at Eagle Raceway at I-80 Speedway in Greenwood area, just off exit 420 on the I-80, just heading towards Lincoln. Get off on 420, and tell you what, it is right there.
Oh, yeah, you can't miss it.
Can't miss it.
If you miss I-80 Speedway, you need glasses bigger than what I'm wearing.
You're going to be racing Friday night, right?
I will be racing Friday night in the B-Mods, and I-80's doing something I've never seen in 20 years of racing. You win the trophy, you win the purse, right? Now, think about this.
Careful now, don't make me think.
They're paying backwards. So 10th place gets $200, first place gets like $60 and a trophy. So how many sandbaggers are we going to see?
Yeah, I don't think Jack Dover's going to be sandbagging.
No, not him. In the B-Mods.
Oh, in the B. Oh, hell, that's right up your alley. But knowing your luck, you'll win it.
No kidding. We're going to see like 10 wide coming down the checker flag. I'm like, yes, I can win one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, baby Jesus.
You're going to win a race and still come out behind.
I'm telling you, only I will be. That's probably why they did it.
Yeah, we'll be there on Friday night, and I'm going to try to be there one of the 2 nights, maybe Friday and Saturday night, because I-80 is running a special right now to where you can buy combo tickets and get a discount.
Smart move.
Absolutely smart move. If you buy race tickets for Friday and Saturday night, it's going to be cheaper than buying them for individual nights. So get to i-80speedway.com to get more information on that race. Again, racing starts at 5, gates open at 5, hot laps at about 7:15. That's at I-80 Speedway, exit 420 in Greenwood, just off of I-80, and that's this coming next weekend, next Friday and Saturday. We're going to try so hard to get Jack Dover on Slingin Dirt and to get him an interview, because we'll be doing that Wednesday night, and then we'll put it up on our Facebook page on Thursday morning, so that you'll be able to hear it before they race on Friday and Saturday night. So that's the racing that's coming up. Bud, let's talk about the racing that happened. You just got back from the Boone Super Nationals.
First time ever driving the Super Nationals.
And that's your second time down at Boone, right?
Yep. Last year I watched, this year I raced, and I've said it many, many a times, you go to Boone a boy and you come out of Boone a man, and I learned so much about IMCA racing, and I learned so much about driving. And I mentioned this on the front stretch. I can see why guys like Jesse Sabine, Crazy Racing 99. I can see Dylan Smith, the Osceola Rocket, Johnny Sadoff, the Jet. Jeff Taylor, Brandon Bocklinger, my God, Jeff Anderson, Shannon Anderson. I can see why these guys are so damn good, because when you go to an event like this, you can't lift, and IMCA does not condone you driving through a car, running somebody over, playing dirty pool. That's not what happens there. You have to go there. It's a totally different mentality style of racing. And after racing there, I can see where it put a thicker skin on me as a driver. And so now I am more excited and more pumped up to go race the Tiny Lund, the Cornhusker Classic, the Fall Brawl, a lot of these big year-end specials coming up. I can see why Jesse and these guys are so damn good, because when they've gone to a race like this where, this year they had the pay-per-view, went over to, tens of thousands of people. They had over 50,000 throughout the course of the week at IMCA. I mean, unless you've been there, it's really hard to describe, and then, yes, I did get to partake in the adult activities.
So how did you finish then?
When we went to, I got to do a shout out to Nate Hernandez and Harley Meyer. If I went to the Nationals, I went. If I didn't, I didn't. It didn't really bother me either way. But these two kids and my dad have, and you've seen this, they have worked their ass off so much this year to put me in tech so many times. And, the late nights and the arguments and the bickering and whatnot. They wanted to go to Super Nationals. Nate's never been there. Harley's been there I don't know how many times. And so Nate was like, was this going to be like the Knoxville Nationals? And when we showed up, he was overwhelmed, and we didn't do too bad. We were not in the contention to make the show. We knew we weren't going to be a winning car. We took our brand new car, the Prowler, up there from the Joe's Karting Prowler. We basically used Boone Super Nationals. I wouldn't recommend this, but we used Super Nationals as a avenue of shaking the car down, seeing what we wanted to change in the off season. And I know in the heat races, I ran dead last. Monday night C feature. This was awesome. I start 12th out of 14. I finished 5th in the Monday night C feature at 5:45 in the morning. Did a Superman slide job, a Hail Mary move. Went to the bottom, slid it right up to the top of the track. That's not normally how I like to race, but after staying up for, I don't know, almost 20 some hours during the race. And now to IMCA's defense, there was a 5.5 hour rain delay there. That's why we went so long. And then Tuesday night, we ran dead last in every race. I was running 3rd, 4th in the heat C feature. I just went in too hard, didn't really hit my marks, spun the car out, being a little too aggressive on the throttle, so my Super Nationals was done, which was fine with me. The car wasn't hurt, wasn't destroyed, nothing got broke, so...
Which, that's a positive.
That's always a positive, always.
When you don't have to pay for repairs, that's a great race.
But the other thing with Super Nationals is... you never know who you're going to be pitted next to, because there's no assigned parking spots unless you bought one of the prepaid spots. So the anticipation of, well, am I going to get somebody who's kind of, I guess, dickheadish, or am I going to get somebody who's really laid back? And I met these two teams, one on each side of us. One had a sport mod and 2 stock cars, and the other guy had a sport mod. And they were the good old boys from down in Missouri, and some of the nicest guys you could ever meet. We borrowed each other's stuff all week long. We were trading speed secrets with each other, taking a look at the cars. And here's the one thing, and you've been the announcer at Crawford County this year, Dan. Mm-hmm. And I'm not throwing anybody under the bus here, but if I come in with a beat up sport mod, how many teams do you see run straight over to my car just to help my dad and the guys put the car up on jack stands, take the car apart, and let's fix the car? How many times do you see? You don't see that around here a whole lot. And I'm not talking bad about anybody, but at Boone,
well, that's just not the nature of it. I mean,
no, but now
because everybody on that track is your competitor, at least in your division,
right? But there's other cars outside of your division that are just kind of, oh yeah, his car got messed up, but they're not going to run over to give you a hand. Now at Boone, it's a totally different situation. At Boone, I seen guys that were in sport compacts or sport mods or late models or whatever, the cars got torp, and there's guys from other classes that don't even know the guy that just converge on this broken down car. Hey, let's get you back on the track. And that was damn, that was refreshing. That was so cool to see the camaraderie there. That was, I didn't want to drink all week long because I wanted to see all that, and that was really cool. The fan zone, that was really, really good. We got to do about a 10-minute interview with the Holiday Horsepower Drive and Joe's Karting. That went out on pay-per-view. That was really nice. And then you had the after hours. The after hours. And I wouldn't even know where to begin with the after hours. The one thing about Boone, whether you wanted to drink and get inebriated every night, or you just wanted to stay up and watch the drunk, inebriated people every night, it seemed from Sunday night through Sunday morning, that was the world's longest 7 one-day. It was a 7-day one-day. Because, people are like, well, I think it was Tuesday night we did this. Because you're operating on probably... Now, there's enough time that if you want to go get 6-7 hours sleep, you can do that. But there's so much going on in IMCA and the Manufacturers Row and JR Motorsports. There's so much going on. You don't want to miss out on it. Because the minute you go to sleep, sure as heck, that's when one of your favorite drivers won the race. Or that's when JR Motorsports is doing an open house and you don't want to miss the free food. Or that's when, IMCA says, bring the cars up behind the grandstands. We're going to do fan zone. We're going to do interviews. And like you and I just said earlier, when they say drivers, we need drivers for interviews, you don't turn that down. Right. So you got to stay on the ball. So that was really, really neat. One of the funniest things about the after hours, I did see there's pictures of it. The guy ran he got inebriated early in the morning, ran his truck into Boone Lake. The funny thing is, he put it in 4-wheel drive, forgot to lock his lockouts, ran the truck into Boone Lake, buries the front end. Well, another guy comes over. His girlfriend's got, I believe, from what I was told, and there's no pictures of this out there, but another guy came over with a 2011. Now, this is what I was told. 2011 Ford F-150 4-wheel drive. It's his girlfriend's truck. She's passed out, had a little bit too much to drink, passed out. So he goes and gets the girlfriend's truck, backs up to the other guy's truck. He's getting ready to pull the truck out. That truck then slid in sideways into Boone Lake. And some rowdy guys from up north, is all I'm going to say, decided, let's see if the truck will float upside down in Boone Lake.
Oh, Lord.
So, yeah, there's some stuff like that. Chicken Man did make his return this year.
Oh, thank God.
Chicken Man, if you didn't know, Chicken Man was buck naked on a scoop shovel behind a four-wheeler with a chicken hat on. He's always a perennial crowd favorite in the after-hours party. Super nice guy. He was up in the stands entertaining the fans, did a great job doing that. One of the neat things as a driver that I got to see is every major chassis manufacturer was in attendance at Super Nationals. Me having a Dirtworks, I got to meet Jerry Hoffman, who bought Dirtworks. So I got to look at the cars. And so, and that's where, if you go to bed for a long time, you might miss that window of opportunity where you can go meet your favorite chassis manufacturers because, they got to go race too, and they're getting their stuff ready. So you're constantly walking around, and you got all the perennial top dogs in each class. You can go talk to them because they're all right there. There's so much wealth and knowledge about IMCA, and the track officials were awesome. Greatest time I've ever had with track officials. Ryan Butler, Corey Wilson, Josh Most, Nicole Peterson. I'm not going to mention your names, but I wish I had the theme song to Mission Impossible right now. Nick,
let's not get them implemented in anything that we end up getting them arrested.
No, they're not going to get arrested.
Let's just say they.
But they kind of either Nick Deal met up with them or they met up with Nick Deal, and there was some dirt biking going on, and that dirt bike was impounded like a NASCAR car, and said impounded dirt bike became unimpounded, and they kept their noses clean after that.
Well,
so
that's good. So you had a great time down there.
I absolutely had a great time. Missed you and Andrew to death. Missed you guys. It was awkward not being in the studio.
Yeah, we missed having you. I mean, the show was. It's
how much shorter? How much shorter?
Well, it wasn't any shorter, but it was just like quiet.
I could just see you and Andrew looking at each other going, well, this is where Bud would chime into something colorful.
It was definitely a little, there was something missing, and that was Buddy Ray. So it's great to have you back. I know the front stretch was about 30 minutes last week. We talked with Joe about the Midwest Fall Brawl coming up next weekend at I-80 Speedway and some of the changes that are going to be happening at I-80 Speedway for 2013. And
I didn't get to hear, can you remember any of the changes that he talked about? Because I was curious.
Well, I tell you what, go back and listen to it.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, there you go. It's on the...
I'm still on jet lag from Boone.
It should be up on the Facebook page. I'm pretty sure it got posted. I've been a little bit busy this week with work, so I haven't had a chance to really kind of follow up with it. Usually that's something that you take care of and posting it on everybody's page, but always on the Front Stretch Facebook page. Also, if you become a subscriber to the Joe's Karting YouTube page, you will get email updates when we post new segments.
I do want to make a shout out, and I want to thank everybody that honestly walked up to me in the pits. There were so many people I had no idea who they were. People from Chillicothe, Missouri, Eastern Iowa, northwestern Kansas that actually tune in each week to listen to the Slingin' Dirt in the Front Stretch. I had a lot of people, you and Andrew mentioned, outside of our shows that, within your daily work life, you meet people that, I actually don't get that too often over there where I work at Joe's, but I got a whole lot of that this week at Super Nationals, and everybody's kind of, well, what's Dan like? Well, what's Andrew like? Well, we said we're trying.
You don't tell them the truth, do you?
Well, I was pretty close. I told him that you were a reject.
You do tell them the truth. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I sugarcoated it. I told him I was a fine-tuned racing machine that picked up Andrew Kaziski, and we were going to be like the Chad Knaus, Jimmy Johnson of radio announcers. And Dan just kind of came tagging along like, Linus in a Charlie Brown cartoon. So,
well, on that note, how about we wrap up the Slingin' Dirt? Presented by Lost Dog Design. Presented by Lost Dog Design. Get to lostdogdesign.com. They're going to take care of all of your business cards, brochures, flyers, Facebook pages, websites, and so much more. Raina and Dave are waiting and are ready to take care of you. Lostdogdesign.com is where you can get a hold of them. Take care of all of your social networking, your brochures, your flyers, your business cards, everything you need to promote yourself as a driver, as a track, and hell, maybe just as a fan. Lostdogdesign.com is where you go. So coming up, Tiny Lund in just a couple of days. Then Wednesday, Eagle Raceway, we've got the World of Outlaws a makeup race, and then the next Friday and Saturday, the 21st and 22nd, I-80 Speedway. It's the Midwest Fall Brawl. Lots to go on, lots to do for the racing coming up in just in the next week and a half.
Real quick before we close, I've got 2 story ideas, and I'm going to throw this out to the racing community. Here's the ideas. Now, you've heard that old cliche saying, Dan, that behind every good driver stands a good woman. And there's a lot of truth to that, as I can vouch for my Rachel. But with that being said, Facebook me at the Buddy Ray Jones Facebook page or the Front Stretch Facebook page, Front Stretch presented by Joe's Karting. I want to find some longtime girlfriends and even some longtime wives of the racers, because the drivers get a lot of attention, but we don't see the people at home that have to put up with this drivers and what they have to endure and whatnot, and sometimes that's stressful,
sometimes.
All the time with me. The other thing is, drivers, here's a chance. We interview you drivers all the time and your sponsors. Here's what I want to hear. So Joe Blow wins the A feature tonight. Well, Joe Blow drove the car, but it was the pit crew that put him on the track. Drivers, Facebook me, Buddy Ray Jones, or Facebook me, Front Stretch presented by Joe's Karting. I want to know some longtime crew members out there. You want to do a shout out for your team? Here's your opportunity. I'm begging, I'm asking. There's so many teams out there, I couldn't begin to even pick one. But these are the 2 deals, and we're going to interview these 2 subjects on the Slingin' Dirt here shortly. I think both entities deserve the respect that they're given, and I want to go after that.
All right, so that'll be coming up in the next couple of weeks on Slingin' Dirt. We thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week for another great edition of Slingin' Dirt. For Dan Taylor, Buddy Ray, and our had-to-be-absent friend tonight, Andrew Kaziski, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you at the track.